Hey, that's about as long as I can make it on that countdown. I don't know why it's 30 seconds. I need to make one that's 20 seconds because I'm dead after 20 seconds. Welcome to the Gadsden State Softball Show. As normal, Coach Ryan Clark joins us tonight. How are you doing, Coach Clark?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Up in the right corner, we've got a better looking version of Howie Cheney. It doesn't take a whole lot. But tonight, join us for Howie at the Buffalo Atlanta game with the flag squad out there. He's excited about that. Phil Harris, how you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well. I'm just filling in for Howard because his priorities are messed up. We're going to have to get him straightened out. I mean, this is Gadsden State softball. Who cares about the Falcons?
Right.
And you got chances to win games here. The Falcons ain't beating the Bills tonight. That's all I'm saying. And below, a Gadsden State legend already, someone we've been waiting on for a couple of weeks. Our favorite player, Miss Abby Payne. How are you doing today, Abby?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wondering if I'm going to get in trouble tonight trying to host this thing. That's what I'm wondering. Hey, Coach, before we go to Phil, let him ask some questions. Very successful week last 2 weeks. 7-0-1. Played some good programs. Where do you feel like we're at with the team right now?
I feel like we're in a really good spot, pitching and defensively. Still having a lot of things we got to work on offensively. We're not putting timely hits together, but nonetheless, we're doing what it takes to win ball games right now. Piecing together enough to win. We just can't get complacent. Got to continue to work and get better so that we can have some of those timely hits. Some big hits at some big times and push a few more runs through.
Coach, we got a player with us tonight, and thank you for bringing one. It always adds something to the program to have someone on the inside here. Tell us a little bit about Abby Payne, the player.
Abby's a really good hitter, left-handed hitter. Comes from Hokes Bluff, just down the road. Since she's been with us, obviously she's injured right now. She's not playing this fall, but since she's been with us, she's played third, she's played short, she's played second, and played a little corner outfield at practice at times too. But she could play anywhere, I think, except catcher. We tried that one time and it wasn't pretty. So, but true infielder, or infield utility. She can play at any of the three spots on the infield, not counting first. Really big bat before her injury in the spring. Batting average was over 400 with 4 home runs already. And that was, 29 games into the season. So she was on track to have a really good year. Hate that she was injured. But it all happens for a reason, and she's going to come out of it pretty strong, and we're excited for that when she does.
Abby, physically, where are you at in rehab and getting back to the field?
I just got cleared to start hitting, and we're now working with our trainer to start cutting. So, cutting, running bases and stuff.
What was it? A leg injury?
Yes, I tore my ACL.
Well, that's something a couple of years ago that was 18, 24 months. You just sound like you're several months out of it now. That recovery time's a lot shorter than it was even a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, do you find that your ACLs and knee injuries now have a shorter recovery time than they did even, I guess, back when you were a football coach?
Yeah, much shorter. When even when I was playing, it was still over 12 months on that injury, and before that, sometimes it was season or career ending. An ACL could be career ending. At times, but the technology and sports medicine it's come such a long way, and we're thankful for that in so many ways. So definitely a lot faster process now than it was even 10, 15 years ago.
Abby, you already said one thing before I go to Phil that's a little controversial. You like the Tennessee softball team, but you roll Tide over Go Vols during football. Now,
Yeah.
explain how that happens in one's life.
I don't know. My dad, I grew up being an Alabama fan, but then I started to lean towards Tennessee softball. And so I I'll be a Tennessee fan just to make my dad mad during football, but I'm a Bama fan.
You say
For
that
football.
so shyly. I don't know if it's in your heart. We can use all the help in Alabama this week we can get. Phil, see if you can do something with her. All right.
I don't know that I can. If that's where her heart is, that's where her heart is. Well,
Yeah.
I want to do. I want to ask you this, Abby. Is how did you end up at Gadsden State? What was your track? Was that kind of your goal that just kind of fall that way? Was you even wanting to play softball at the next level? You know, now that programs are really growing up around you, was you looking to play at the next level when you was in high school?
Yes, I was.
Well, tell me this: are you wanting to go play at a 4-year school?
I don't know. I really like being at home, so like I don't know. I'm going back and forth.
Yeah, I guess I guess you're one of them homegirls. You just like you kind of want to stay where you're at, kind of where your seed has been planted. You just kind of want to stay there.
Yes.
Well, tell me what is it like playing for Coach Clark? Is he tough on you? Is he? Kind of give us kind of an insight of how it is playing for him.
It's great. He's tough on me, but if you're not tough on me, I probably won't listen. So like, he's got to be tough on me in order for me to like do what I need to do. But he's a great coach overall. I like it.
Well,
Phil, that might be the most honest answer we've ever gotten on this podcast. So
That's true.
Yeah. Well, tell me this: are you kind of freelance? You just kind of sort of, kind of enjoy playing and having a lot of fun, but there has to be a time where you have to get focused. Is that the kind of thing he probably pushes you on?
Yes, like I joke around a lot, but like I know that there is a time to be serious, and sometimes I'll, go off and forget about that, and he'll have to like remind me and be like, "It's not the time to joke right now."
Yeah. Yeah, coach, it's a hard thing dealing with these young ladies. I mean, you've got to be tough on them. They're starting to mature, kind of trying to find their way in life. You've got to be tough on them, but you've also got to encourage them to be themselves.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't want, I don't want them to show up every day and just get drilled. As far as me just being negative all the time. You got to have that separation there. For a lot of times, we like for them to learn what they're doing wrong as we're teaching it and try to get a feel for it instead of just jumping down their throat automatically. But yeah, you got to definitely be tough on them at times, but at the same time, you got to realize they're still 18, 19-year-old young women. So you gotta have a little bit of a separation there and know that fine line to stay on.
Yeah, well, coming in the program now, and we've talked to Coach Guthrie, and he talks about now that the program's kind of sort of set a foundation, and you're in that now. Do you find that the sophomores are kind of sort of more taking over a leadership role, which makes your coaching a little bit easier?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I got to see that from day one. Some of our sophomores who are active right now. We've got two who are inactive, that are on the IR right now. But from the ones that are active, you can tell from practice they're bouncing around from station to station. They don't have to say a whole lot because the freshmen that we brought in are very hungry. They work very hard. So just a really good team chemistry, and that's led really by the sophomores and how they treat practice and how they treat the weight room and how they treat games right now. So very, very proud of our sophomores in that way, and a big sigh of relief seeing them be leaders.
Yeah, definitely. Because I guess sometimes, there's often times you want to get on folks, but you'll have these sophomores grab hold and says, "Hey, coach don't like that. If you keep doing that, he's going to get on to you." Are you seeing more of that?
Yeah, you're seeing more of. Sometimes I sit back and see something happen, and if it happens in front of a sophomore, just to see, and I've been able to sit back and see a few things take place and some conversations be had between some sophomores and freshmen, or even sophomores and possibly transfers that are conversations about, hey, this we're not doing that. We actually have some freshmen that do the same thing. You know, there's not many on this team that would ever want to cut corners, but I don't think the team in general would allow that if they did want to.
Well, tell me something. In fall practice, you use a lot of people. When you play other teams, do they play a lot of folks also? You try to get everybody on the field you can. Is that what everybody kind of does?
Yeah, you want to be able to get get the reps, get the game reps, especially with ones that you foresee being able to help you in the spring or potentially being starters when you get over to the spring. But you also have to get anybody that you think's a role player. You got to get them some reps so they're seeing these at bats. They're taking ground balls. They're getting the fly balls. All within the realms of still keeping winning in mind. You don't want to do it to the point where you're giving games up. Um, you know, uh, you still want to learn to win in the fall. That's a very important. And that's to me that's something that's lost in today's age. We're so focused on let's be fair to everybody. But when you win 11 games in a row, you start to find out who the players are, who the front runners are, who's not, who can't play on that stage right now, and kind of that's what the fall's for. You get to see who's up at the top, and um, who does well under pressure, and that's the great thing about the fall is getting to rotate everybody in and kind of see how they do in situations.
Well, Coach, when you stick them out there, do you have a fine line where you really pay special attention to detail right now?
Oh yeah, they don't know this, but they're gonna know this now. But I keep a little notebook during games that I get out and I write on, and I take a lot of notes through the fall to really bring them all together at the end of the fall. This year is something that we're going to do, and we're going to sit down and talk about little things in games that shouldn't have happened, that can't happen if we're going to be good, and some things. And there's positive things in that book too, but really just nitpicking the little bitty things that we've got to make sure that we're getting better at before we get to the spring.
Yeah, definitely understand that. Well, tell me when you run your practices, are they more specialized in that they're very structured, or do you do a lot of situational work?
Well, we try to do some type of situational stuff every day, whether it's hitting or defense. It's built into our practice plan. We have a practice plan we go by. So right now in the fall, we do two different types of practices. We have individuals where we really get to take time with um, we had individuals today. So the infielders came in, they worked by themselves, and then the outfielders came in, and then the catchers, then the pitchers. So you've got that sort of practice where it's more one on one. We can stop, we can talk, we can teach a little bit more, and then we have where the entire team's there. We're working, um, different hitting drills, different hitting situations, different defensive situations every single day.
Yeah. Well, how is it to keep practice interesting? Because sometimes if it can be, especially in baseball, it can become routine. What are some of the things you do to kind of change things up?
It's hard not to get routine. It really is sometimes. We do change some stuff up. We've got several different drills we plug in. Like we've got 30 minutes of offense and 30 minutes of defense every day, where this is a plug-in drill, so that we're not doing the same exact thing every single day. If you come out here and we're taking a round of infield and taking BP, nobody's getting any better because it is a routine. So there's times we'll take soft toss at an angle. There's times we're off the machine. There's sometimes when we got three hitters going at one time. We've got some T work stuff that we're doing. And then as far as defense, we've got different drills that we'll do and different situational stuff. But every now and then we'll throw something crazy in there, and just to try to lighten it back up. Because if I feel like we've you know been on the field a little bit too much for the week, we may throw in there something to lighten it up. But a lot of times we're doing anything that we do is with a purpose, and we try to keep it mixed up so that we're not getting repetitive.
Well, of course, in softball, it's great to play at home, but do you find it's good to travel, especially during the fall season, in that softball becomes a grind? It definitely does. It don't matter where you play at. Does this help them mentally by making big travel dates? Especially if you've got a short bus ride, get off, and you got to get off the bus and go play. Do you feel like this helps them mentally?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And our freshmen last week got to really feel the grind of what the spring is like, and that's why we put so many games in a row right there. We played 8 games in 6 days, maybe. I think that's what it was. It was a lot of games we played in 6 days, and um, 3 of those dates were on the road. So I wanted them to be able to get off the bus and then 2 days later get back on the bus and go somewhere, and then recover, still play well at home and get 2 wins at home. So I think they handled it pretty well. By the end of the week, they were dragging a little bit. You could tell when we were playing Miles College and Alabama A&M, we were dragging a little bit, but that was to be expected. And I wanted two bigger schools right there on the end of that to see if we could still fight through and find a way to win, and they did. They did what we were supposed to do, and um, that's part of it, and they're starting to figure it out.
Well, Coach, when you take road trips, I know softball is important and you're there to play a ball game. Do you kind of sort of focus sometimes on maybe the history of the areas you go play, where you kind of want to broaden their horizon a little bit?
No, not really.
Not really.
I'm sorry. I get a lot of tunnel vision when we're playing softball. The only thing I'm thinking about on the way in is, I'm thinking about our lineup, their lineup, what I know about them, any scouting reports that I may have picked up, or anything that I've seen in the past from them, or some of the players that are on their team that we might have seen when we were recruiting the year before. That's really where my mind is at when we're on the bus on the way to a game.
Well, how do you depend on your recruiting? I mean, your scouting reports. I mean, some of this, I guess, the coaches, kind of what to expect, but what kind of do you depend on to get any scouting reports?
Well, a lot of times it is just knowing the players that are on the other team, knowing what they can do, because we're all bouncing around between Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi. We're seeing these same kids when we're out recruiting anyway, so we know kind of what's already at the school that we're going to play. And then every now and then you may get somebody that calls and gives somebody up and tells you, how they pitched them and how they got somebody out. Don't happen a lot, and I'll try not to do that through the spring. But every now and then somebody will just call and try to give somebody up. But that's really it. You talk amongst other coaches, and then you already know because of the recruiting trail what the other team has.
Well, tell me about Abby. Tell us a little bit about her background. What made you want her to come to Gadsden State? What are her strong points in her game?
Well, when she finally figured out the correct way to fill the ball on defense, she was a really well-rounded player. But when I knew in high school, so she went to Hoax Bluff. It was 3A. They were in the same region we were. I'd seen her bat a few times. I knew she had a really strong bat. I knew that she could hit the ball well. I knew her high school coach, so when I got this job, me and him had a lot of conversations, and I had assumed that she was already going somewhere because of the way she swung the bat. And when he told me she was available, I knew that I needed to get her on campus. And she had a really good fall for us last year. She hit one at shorter that I think is still in orbit. And then that kind of broke her out of her shell a little bit offensively, and she really started hitting the ball well, carried it over in the spring. And like I said, she played multiple different positions. She played shortstop and second the most in the spring. She had played some third in the fall, but she had played a lot of middle infield.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good prognosis there. Well, Abby, I want to ask you a couple questions, and I'll turn over to Randy a little bit. I know you've talked about you don't know if you want to go play at a 4-year school or not. Of course, that's probably going to change over time. You'll battle that back and forth. But when softball is over, what are your plans?
I'm between. I think I'm wanting to be a physical therapist, like go to PTA school. Is that all?
I thought it's forensic science.
Yeah.
Oh.
My
No.
bad.
PTA school.
Yeah.
Thought she was gonna be a
So
cop.
are you open to anything else?
I could be a cop. I might be a cop.
That's two different. That's way opposite. That's why it caught me off guard when she said PT, because last week it was a cop.
Yeah.
like forensic investigation.
Forensic investigation. Oh, that would be pretty good. I think that would be a good thing. So I'm gonna bet that you're kind of sort of tough mentally. You just kind of sort of will let things deflect off, and you're pretty much your own person.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would say so.
you would say so. Red, turn it over to you unless you ask a few.
Well, I'm going to stay with Abby because I think we got a story here. At Hope's Bluff, you said, Coach, you were not being recruited. When Coach first approached you about Gadsden State, was it an obvious choice? You're there in the front door, and it's a place you could continue your career and still be at home.
Yes, it was. It was an easy choice. It didn't even take me a day to commit. Like telling I wanted to be here.
Did you have a relationship or know who Coach Clark was when he was at Sylvania?
No, I did not. I didn't.
Coach, when you were game planning her at Sylvania, did you have a way that you attacked her power there that maybe you've changed as a head coach?
Yeah, if we were going to play them, that was one reason I was watching her play, is because there was a chance we were going to play in that regional. If we were going to play them, I was just not going to pitch to her. But I don't think that's really changed in the way that I would have done that. Because I felt good enough with the arms that I had at the time to just not pitch to her and see what happens. Put her on every time, see what happens. So, that was especially in 3A, you don't see that. And she was getting recruited by some other schools, but in 3A, you really don't see that type of power that Abby has. It just comes natural, and it looks effortless when she swings the bat. Sometimes it makes you want to choke her, but she's really swinging the bat good. It kind of looks effortless, and then the ball goes over the scoreboard. So, she's just got that smooth left-handed swing that makes it look like she's, barely having to try. And I know that gets under some people's skin because they're swinging as hard as they absolutely can, and Abby's out here just going smooth through the motion, hitting it over the scoreboard. So, anyway, that was my plan. If we would have matched up with them, is we were just not going to pitch to her.
It's kind of like that Will Clark that just looks so natural from the left side, when he hit a base.
Yep.
Abby, how did you develop that? Was that some, I find that effortless effort often is a lot of effort in the cage, or throwing the football, or shooting free throws. Was this something that you just spent a lot of time on in high school?
I used to be a slapper, and I had slapping lessons like twice a week. And so like I'd go there and then I'd hit all the time. And so like I was just in the cages like 3 to 4 times a week, just hitting.
Your slapper coach ever see you hit and go, well, I don't know if slapping is your future?
I was a lot tinier before, and I was faster, but once I hit my first home run, like I just done away with slapping.
That's great. So, having spent the last 7-8 months on kind of the bench and the IR, how much do you love softball today that you didn't know you loved it then?
I didn't realize how much I loved it and took it for granted when I was playing until like it got taken away from me. But I know that God did this to me for a reason, and He's got a plan for me.
I'd like to give you a hey man on that one, because you absolutely did. And it may be to father your career. You never know. So that, as Coach Clark, let me add him back to the stage. We lost him there for a second. Coach.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. She said, Abby said something while she was gone. And I just like, I think it's wise to be on her ears. And I'd like to give you a chance to comment on it. She said she didn't know how much she loved softball until God took it away from her. That can be a powerful tool for a young person who loves something, to realize exactly how much they love it when they lose it for a period of time.
Yeah, and as a coach too, like it's hard to see somebody going through that, and you try to support in any way that you can. And I know it was a very, very, very tough road for Abby, sitting the last 30 games of the year and having to watch us play. I know that was tough, and I do think it's made her hungry. Not that she ever took the game for granted before, but I promise you she won't from this point forward, because she's um every day asking, "Can I do more? Can I do this? Can I do that?" And she's still shut down for the most part, except swinging the bat right now. So I think it did make her hungry, and I think it's something that was good for her. Not on the part where she got hurt, but to really realize, hey, this I love doing this, and I think like I said, everything happens for a reason, and I think her teammates were able to see through her as well. Hey, I don't want that to happen, and if it does, I want to make sure I'm going full speed, and because you never know when it could end or when the season could end, and I think she handled it about as well as she possibly could, and I know it was tough, and that's something that's really hard as a coach when you see one of your players suffering through that. Having done this for a while and different sports and seeing different athletes having to go through that stuff, it's never easy. It's never easy seeing them having to do that.
Very true, Coach. Very true. Abby, when you're in the field, you kind of move around. Coach made a joke a minute ago about throwing the ball. What did you have to learn about defense once you got to the collegiate level?
So it was more, I didn't bend my knees to field a ground ball. It's like I would more just like keep them straight, bend over. And so like I wasn't staying down on it.
Then she starts bending them and tears it. So I don't know.
It's a lose situation.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true, Coach. You got a good
Yeah.
point. What was it on a defense? Was it fielding a ground ball that you got
Oh
hurt?
no, oh no, it was on an easy pop fly. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. We had two in a row the same way. It was kind of over her right shoulder a little bit, took her to her right. She planted and then hit the ground, and because it was Abby, the way she was crawling around, I thought she's just messing around and she's okay. And then she started hitting the ground. I was like, oh no, she's hurt. So it was a fluke thing, non-contact. It was crazy. It was just time for that knee to go, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It was. Um, Abby, do you think it will change your game any? Um, you know, uh, when you're at the plate, do you think that maybe this will give you an opportunity to work on your hitting, where you're more versatile at the plate, or something that you could find a good in the bad that happened to you?
I found the good in it. It's more of just like I don't want to. I'm scared that I'm gonna be scared to go back into it full swing.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some advice. As a guy that's had 5 torn ACLs, uh, once you tear it, it's no different than tearing it second time. I did mine in a car wreck, so go full blast. You're okay. You,
I will.
you,
Yeah,
you,
it's definitely stronger than it was 5 months ago. So
it is, and that's the thing about it. My ACL is stronger today after the car wreck than it ever was before the car wreck. So, you're going to be fine. And you said it a minute ago. Not to lecture you, but you said God took it away. God's going to give it back also. So you're going to experience the highs of this. So,
yeah,
I believe that in my heart. Now,
Well, I know when
Coach,
you get back out on the field, you're going to be thinking about it a little bit, but you'll make a play where you'll make a throw or make a hit, hit the first base bag, and you'll say, "I'm okay, I'm fine." So
yeah,
and you'll quit thinking about it, but you are going to think about it starting out naturally.
Yeah.
and don't hit log trucks. They tear them really, really bad. So
golly.
don't just stay away from the log truck. Hey, the one thing I got to check with you before I go back to Phil, are you making sure you got the right combination of uniform on and you know that before the game, because that may be a Coach Clark pet peeve that the player don't know the combination they're wearing that day.
No, I always know. I'm on top of everything.
Hey, you're gonna be proud of me. You're gonna be proud of me, Randy. I'm letting them choose this fall. So there's not a lot of options, so they can't really mess it up bad. So I'm letting them choose this fall.
You've got great uniforms, no matter what they choose, though, Coach.
Right.
It's that when that school in Athens wears it, it's terribly ugly. But when y'all wear it, it's a beautiful combination.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've got several different combinations, and they all look good. So I'm to the point now. I just tell them I don't care what you wear, just match and be here on time.
All right, one more question for Abby, and then I'm going to go to Phil and let him have some questions. When you were at Hoax Bluff and you had some success in high school, what's the first time you really thought, hey, I can play at a different level?
Probably my 10th grade year. It was probably my best year I had. Like,
were you still slapping then, or?
No, I was not slapping no more. I was a power hitter.
10th grade. I don't even know if I could find the field in the 10th grade. Coach, I was a great bullpen catcher in the 10th grade. And also in the 11th grade and the 12th grade. So I made all-state bullpen catcher. Phil, get me out of this embarrassing situation.
Well, I know Randy. Hey, now Randy's one of them. No matter what sport he played, he never crossed the white line except to shake hands most of the time.
No.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, well, Abby, I do want to ask you this.
I didn't have to watch
Randy kind of, Randy kind of sort of touched on this, but now that you've been out, of course, the best part of your game is your power game. Now that you've been out and you kind of observe, do you think you're going to be more focused on the part of your game you really needed to work on?
Yes. I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah. What was the question? I forgot it.
Yeah, what naturally, hitting's going to come back naturally. But now that you've gotten to observe and watch others, is your focus going to be on the shortcomings of your game, your defense, or the things like that you may need to work on? Are you going to be more focused on that?
Yes, I'm going to be more focused on my defense than my hitting, because the hitting came natural to me the first time. I believe that it will come back natural this time around. But my fielding, it needed work before I tore my ACL, which you can always work on anything, but I want to work on my fielding a lot.
Well, I'll ask you about this. Being a Lady Vols fan when it comes to softball, who are some of the players you were attracted to? Was it their coach? There had to be something that kind of captured you in that Lady Vol program.
I just like their pitcher.
Uh-huh.
That's what I just love their pitcher. I love like she just throws it fast. I like watching people get struck out.
75 miles an hour.
That is insane.
Of course, a lot of things too. The Lady Vols are on TV more than I think. It's just about any sport you see they're on. It just seems like they're on constantly.
Oh yeah, they are.
Well, Coach, I want to get back to you, and we was talking about the fall, working on certain things. Situational hitting that you said that maybe it's kind of a big focus. What are some of the things your team has improved on in the fall? And tell me some of the players, because I know some of them would like to hear their names, that you have been very pleased in fall camp.
So far, I've been pleased with everybody's effort on the team. As a team, I think defensive strategy, we've put a lot of different things in, thrown a lot of different things at them this fall, more than we ever did last year in the entire fall and spring. They've handled it well. They've responded well. Just for example, I think we've got 6 backside outs from cuts this spring, this fall that I think we had 0 last year. Learning to get the ball through the middle, through the relay person, just in case we got a backside out or a secondary out. We've done a really good job of that. Positioning on defense. I we've went over it several times, but they're doing a good job of remembering where to be and when to be there, and that's one of the biggest things that I think are the biggest improvements from last fall is our defense and defensive players and our pitching. Our pitching, it kind of speaks for itself. We've got several pitchers that have pitched really well in the fall, but we expect to do some pretty good things in the spring. The biggest player that I think has really come on strong through the fall camp going into actually two kind of stick out in my head. Zeta Zapp, she's playing third base right now. I believe Zeta would take a ball off the face if it meant to get somebody out, and I love that at third base. She's played really hard. She plays full speed all the time. And then the other one's Evelyn Splone. She's done really well. She's adjusted well. She's an outfielder for us. She's a left-handed hitter. She's got a lot of speed. Both of those, I mean, everybody on our team has done well in the fall. Tinley Johnson, returning sophomore, she's had a pretty good fall. Ava Ramsey, that plays first base for us, has had a good fall. Molly Weaver's been getting a lot of the time at shortstop. She's mixed with Kayla Brothers and also Caitlin St. Clair when she was with us before she went to her other sport. So been pretty good in the middle. Addison Dreas takes some at usually takes most of the reps at second with Kayla. They kind of split that at second, and Liddy Faulkner's done a really good job coming in at second base. We've got Peyton Earp and Leighton Arnold both have played pretty good. And Barrett Sneed's a sophomore. She's played good in the times that she's been in. We got four catchers. Casey Brothers is kind of leading the way right now. She got a really big arm. She's thrown several runners out. She's doing a really good job and getting better every day. I think the first game we played, she got 3 stolen bases on her. And I don't think anybody's been 100% stealing bases on her since. So she's done a great job there. And then the other 3 catchers that are really splitting time right now is Rachel McCown. She's a returner for us. There's L.A. Wood. She's also a returner, sophomore. L.A.'s a crazy story. She's playing her second year of softball, but she also has played 2 years of volleyball. So that's a pretty cool story there. And then Lacey Nichols is also another catcher for us. She's done a really good job. Some of the ones that are getting a little bit more and more playing time as we go through the fall. Peyton Hill at first base has done a really good job, and then I will forget somebody, I promise, but I always do. But and I know our pitchers have done great. Caitlin Rains, Presley Slayton, Leighton Arnold, Sydney Simpson, Aubrey Kirst. Let's see. Oh, Caitlin Battles has done really well. So is Chloe Phillips. Now, Chloe, I don't know if she could break a window with a fastball, but she is very effective. She spun the ball well. She's got 1,000 batting average on her career, and that's where we're going to stop. I let her hit the other night, and it was the best thing you've ever seen. A little bloop over the pitcher that nobody could get to. She got safe. She's 1,000 on her batting average for her career, and that's probably where it's going to stop. So, just really excited about the team in general, and the way that they're buying in and working hard every day, and it's very competitive. We've got several that split time, like I was talking about, but when we get to the spring, it's going to be one person getting a lot of the reps, and then we'll have some rotators there. So it's very competitive until we get into the spring, and I like it. And it's competitive at practice every day, and they're all doing pretty well in games.
Well, Coach, you said that you focused on some things in this fall that you hadn't done in the past. But when you first come in as a coach, it's overwhelming for you too. Just terminology, getting practice schedule, travel schedules. There's so much going on around you. Has it slowed down for you a little bit where you can spend a lot more time actually coaching?
Yeah, definitely. Like I was finished with scheduling. I was finishing with travel and all that before the girls ever got here in the fall. So that's kind of helped us we're not having to order equipment. We're finally in our stadium. A lot of things are going our way right now. So Definitely slower for us this fall as far as being able to sit down, really break down games, and break down things at practice, because terminology is coming more natural to the players that we have this year, and they're understanding it a lot better. So, it's definitely slowed down for us, and the girls are taking it and running with it and doing a really good job.
Well, I'm figuring that if the stress level's high for you, you can't hide that from the kids. They sense it. So now, if you're more relaxed, coming into practice, not a lot of things going on around you, and you're totally focused on practice, they sense that and they're going to respond better.
Yeah, the energy. And it goes both ways too. Their energy at practice has been pretty good. We've only had a couple of days where I've really had to say something to them, but their energy at practice is good. And same thing as if my energy's bad, then theirs is going to be bad. If their energy's pretty good, then it's going to reflect us as well. So, been really pleased with that too.
Well, Coach, something that's never talked about a whole lot, your administration, how good have they been to you? Have they taken care of things? They make sure you have everything you need. If you're going to run a softball program, the higher up folks has really got to have a big impact. Are they really helpful to you?
Oh yeah, Mr. Smith, our president, he stepped in. We had another president who took a job at another college, and he stepped in, and ever since he was the interim, he's been very supportive. Really talked to us about things, how they're going. He's done some things to help us athletic wise. Not just softball, baseball, but the whole athletic department. He's doing a really good job. And then our athletic director, Coach Lewis, does a phenomenal job with all of our sports, and he's very supportive. If they're not playing, then he'll be at our games, and he's the head baseball coach. So if they're not playing games, he'll be at our games, and he's always very supportive. He knows the girls by name, and that's kind of impressive, for him to really know everybody in our athletic department by name. And I think he's made a point to do that. And I think it really helps that relationship between player and athletic director. They're not afraid to say something to him in the hallway, say hey to him. And so we've got a whole lot of support here at Gadsden, and things are going really well here.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you this. If young ladies are watching, they're at the high school level, I mean, they know, the softball program. What are some of the things that Gadsden State Community College has to offer them from an academic standpoint that they're going to really thrive at your school?
So academically, we take pride in our academics. We do progress reports every 3 weeks, just to kind of check up and see where the girls are and see how they're doing. There are so many different degrees and certificates that you can get from Gadsden State. It's a very, very broad spectrum when you're talking about what you can achieve here at Gadsden, and softball just being a little piece of that. We tell the girls when they're coming in, and our recruits when they're coming in. Softball stops one day, and unfortunately it stops for everybody. The sport you play stops one day, and you've got to have a degree or a certificate or something, that you can get your life started, and we want to be a big part of helping you do that.
Yeah, definitely so. Because academics are so important, especially nowadays. Well, Abby, I want to ask you this: when you're healthy, when you're playing, and you're in your routine, and it's season time, how does your day go about? I mean, you get up in the morning, you've got classes, you got practice. What is a routine day for you?
Normally we'll have workouts on a Monday, so go to workouts, and then I'll go to class, and then I'll stop by and get some lunch, and then we'll come to practice, and then after practice I'll normally go to study hall and do some homework that I have, and then go home.
That's but you got softball in school, but softball oftentimes it doesn't really get in the way of your academics. You just have to make time to get your academics done.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. Well, tell me this: if you're talking to a young lady that's thinking about coming to Gadsden State to play softball, how would you sell them on the program?
I would say that hold on. Okay. So The college offers a lot of good stuff, and the coaching staff and the athletic director, they all want to help you not only on the field but off the field.
So do you feel like after your 2 years, you're going to thrive no matter what your decision is, no matter what, if you go into criminal justice or go on to a 4-year school, you feel like that Gadsden State's going to prepare you for life?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, Randy, I'll turn it back over to you and let you handle it from here.
You know, when Coach was talking about a wide variety of majors, the only thing that was in my head was you could be a police officer or an athletic trainer. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good variety. So, Coach, what did it feel like to finally play inside that stadium?
Oh, that night I just kept like looking up and seeing that there were a ton of people here, and I usually don't get caught up in any of that stuff. I don't know who's here and who's not here. I could care less if there were 7 people or 700 people. But that night, just kind of seeing it all come together, and seeing the bleachers were absolutely packed. There were people sitting in lawn chairs all around the outfield. Kind of seeing that and being out there on that field and seeing the girls actually get to compete out there, it was a special feeling for sure. Something we've been waiting a long time for.
Certainly, Abby. When you came to Gadsden State, the field was just probably under construction and a lot of construction going on. Did Coach have to sell you a little bit on what it's going to be by this time, by your sophomore year?
No, not really. When I came here, I knew that he was going to be a great coach for me, and that this is where I wanted to be.
And
Abby,
I think when Abby was going through the recruiting process, I
It
don't think
wasn't.
this field was a plan yet. I think we were still going to play on the rec field on the backside of campus. I think that was the original plan when she was getting recruited. So, several of the sophomores and even some of the freshmen that I brought in early, that was the plan when they came through was, we were going to play on the rec field on campus.
that changed quick. That changed for the better too, Coach, because you got to feel like you've got visually one of the most awe-inspiring softball settings in the area.
No doubt.
Well,
No
you know,
doubt. I think our setting with the river out behind the outfield and the sun sets over to the side, I think there's probably not a better setting as far as junior college softball goes.
well, of course, if you get young ladies on campus, that's a good recruiting tool, just getting to take them to play in that nice of a facility.
No doubt.
Abby, as one of the players, and I know you're still rehabbing, but I'm sure you're friends with a lot of the young ladies on the team. What was it like for them to play under the LED lights and to be in your home field for the first time?
I think it was like a big moment for them. I think they were excited, and I know the sophomores were like, "It's finally happened," and like, we're at our home field, we're at home. So I think they were all excited and ready to play.
That Coach, how did the LED lights hold up for you?
They were really good. Abby was actually in charge of flashing them at the end of the game. That's a pretty cool video I can send you too. She flashed them there red and white and flashing everywhere as we were shaking hands with the other team. It was a pretty cool deal. Because I don't think a lot of the people that were sitting here watching the game realized our lights did that until they did do that. And so that was a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, I didn't know lights did it until we went on the road with the football team, and every time the other team would score, which was a lot, we got to see the whole show. So, Coach, break down what's going. I know we've got not a whole lot left in the fall season, and you're going to take the whole month of December off and come back late January. But when will the players leave campus and return?
They'll get a whole week for Thanksgiving. Then they'll about a week and a half into December they'll be gone. So they'll come back the first week of January and start practicing and preparing for. We play January 31st. So they'll be back on campus and working out and getting back in shape and practicing hard. When the first week of January.
Peyton or Abby, how often do you look at the weather when you're practicing in January that it's going to be 44 today. I'm excited, or it's going to be 28 today. Do you look?
I normally didn't look until it was January, and then like one practice I didn't bring a hoodie or an undershirt, and then after that I realized that I'm just gonna wear an undershirt until it warms up.
Coach, do you ever get it so bad in January you have to go indoors?
Yeah, it don't happen much. Being in North Alabama, and there's not a lot of times that we'll be inside. More or less, there's days where it's cold enough. I don't let them use their $500 bats. We've got extra bats, practice bats. There's days like that, but for the most part, we're gonna be outside. Rain. It poured down rain one day, and it stopped about an hour before practice. And the beautiful thing about turf is we came out and had a full practice. So, the rainy January, February month that doesn't affect us much, but the cold doesn't. It gets cold enough a few times, but not often.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you this about the cold weather. I know when I played baseball, I didn't like the cold weather because it took me long to get my arm loose, and I always worried about hurting my arm because I pitched some, and I had a pretty strong arm, so I worried about a lot. So I warmed up extra. Do you spend extra time stretching and warming up in the colder weather?
Yeah, we will when we come back in January. We'll take double time probably to stretch and partner stretch and really do our bands and make sure that we're loose before we're actually going, because that is the easier way to pop a hamstring or a labrum in a shoulder is not getting completely loose.
Abby, we have a guy named Howie Cheney that's normally here with us, and he has a series of questions that we call Howie questions. And there's only one way to describe it. It's Howie questions. So I'm going to put you through a few Howie questions so we get to know you a little better.
Okay.
What is your favorite subject in school?
First aid.
First aid.
First aid.
No.
I'm her instructor for that class, so I intentionally made it a little harder this semester.
Evidently you did. You need to just a little bit.
Yeah.
What is you can go anywhere and get a meal. Anything you want. You're on the bus. Coach says, Abby, you're going to get to pick for everybody. Where's your favorite place to go?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Are you having the wings?
No, I don't even eat wings. I eat burgers and fries.
So you go to Buffalo Wild Wings to eat burgers.
I like their fries.
You like the fries.
Yeah.
You know what? Normally I'd make fun of you, but I have a daughter that does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you went to Hoax Bluff, what other sports, or did you play other sports at Hoax Bluff?
I played basketball up until my 10th grade year, and then I realized, like, hey, I'm pretty good at softball. I kind of just want to focus on this.
Nice. He always ends with this question, so I'm going to end with it. What's your go-to Waffle House order? I don't know why that become a thing, but it is a thing.
I get Waffle House and Huddle House confused. I think it's the All-Star, the MVP.
That All-Star, yes. I know.
Yes.
I know it by heart. I have it memorized. So if you ever needed to know, just give me a go. And we're also open up and let you give a shout out to anyone that you want to give out to. Anybody that was a major part of your career, a friend, anybody you want to shout out. Who would it be?
Probably my dad and my mom, my family.
Can't beat that. A good mom and dad or a good leadership is great when it comes to playing sports.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Phil, do you got anything to finish up? I see Coach is about ready to go. I'm gonna let
Yeah,
him.
well, I do want him to comment on one thing, Coach. Schedule left. What do you have coming up? I don't think we talked about that.
We got a pretty tough one. I wanted to finish up the fall pretty tough and really challenge them. We got Enterprise tomorrow. Then we got Kennesaw State Saturday. Then the next Thursday we play Jacksonville State, and then the next week on Saturday we play Shorter, a doubleheader. So pretty tough fall to finish up.
Do you have anything else, Phil?
That's it. I just wanted to ask you about that because we hadn't talked about it.
Abby, anything else?
Thank y'all for having me on here.
Well, thank you for coming on. We've
Hey,
been waiting.
we enjoyed it. Yeah.
We enjoyed it. For Coach Ryan Clark, Coach, go see your lovely wife and family. I know that's where you're headed, I hope.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
For Randall Cunningham, for Phil Harris, for Miss Abby Payne, for Coach Clark, good night. God bless.
Thank you.